morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. I just lit the fuse, so let's get going. That's how it feels to me. You light the fuse, it's like there's no going back now.
A daily dose of common sense, no prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show, April 4th. Great to have you along. It was a tough day on with the Dow yesterday. It was the worst day. Excuse me. Worst day on the Dow since 2020. And it slid more than 1,600 points. The S&P 500 was down, the NASDAQ down, and you get a lot of people. Again, as this is ongoing, I think we knew this was going to be difficult. And so this is the reaction, and you've got economists who they are beside themselves. I have not shared a lot of news and comments from economists, but they are like beside themselves. They have been all week over this. And again, what I've been trying to say is let's all take a breath. Let's just wait and see how it goes. This is why I really appreciated the comments by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent yesterday, who was saying the same thing. Let's just pause here. Let's see how it goes. This is the high water mark, so let's not overreact. And in the midst of that, you got people running all over the place, overreacting. So the markets, yes, it was a tough day on the markets yesterday. U.S. stocks lost $3.1 trillion in market cap. That was the largest decline since March of 2020. So again, you hear it was the worst ever since 2020. Really? I mean, the worst ever. Let's all relax. Let's all relax a little bit. You have investor Bill Ackman, who's been sending a message to world leaders. He said, my advice to foreign leaders is that if you have not already reached out to the president, you need to do so immediately. Trump is at his core a deal maker who sees the world as a series of transactions, he said. And he said of the president, he's a tough but fair negotiator. So he is encouraging people to reach out to the president. And he says of Trump, and I think this is something you don't need to be a billionaire investor, I think, to understand this, because I certainly do. The president loves to make deals. The guy's a deal maker. And he says he loves to get things done promptly. And he's not the only one that's urging world leaders then to act quickly, to reach out to the president. The president's son, Eric, said something similar. He said, I wouldn't want to be the last country that tries to negotiate a trade deal with the president. He said, the first to negotiate will win. The last will absolutely lose. I have seen this movie my entire life, he said on X. And you know who the players are that are being tough. You've got the Prime Minister of UK's this is Keir Starmer, saying he will negotiate a deal in our interests, he said. He would not agree to anything that didn't serve the UK's interests, which I can appreciate. I think a lot of us can. But it was a really turbulent day on the markets yesterday. And the vice president was on Newsmax last night. He was on Rob Schmidt tonight. And the vice president says he's feeling good. He said, we're feeling good. Look, I frankly thought in some ways it could be worse in the markets because this is a big transition. You saw the president say earlier today, it's like a patient who was very sick. We did the operation. Now it's time to make the patient better. And that's exactly what we're doing. And he went on, he said, look, one bad day in the stock market compared to what President Trump said earlier today, and I think he's right about this. We're going to have a booming stock market for a long time because we're investing in the United States of America. And more importantly than that, of course, the people in Wall Street have done well. We want them to do well, but we care the most about American workers and about American small businesses. And they're the ones who are really going to benefit from these policies. You know, I think that's something that's really important for you and me to keep in mind with all of the hand wringing and hair pulling and hysteria that's going on out there right now in regard to what's happening on the markets. Can't deny it was a tough day on Wall Street yesterday. But didn't you expect that? Because I did. I mean, just in the days and weeks leading up to this, it's been panic. It's been, people just beside themselves. And the vice president said tariffs were not a surprise. You know, the president said months ago this was what he had planned to do. He's following through on it. He said you had economic policies that rewarded shipping our jobs to China instead of investing in American workers. And that's what President Trump, he ran on changing it. He promised he would change it, and now he has, he said. Frankly, we could have gone a lot higher on the tariffs now he's talking about. Could have gone higher. But the president is trying to send a message that, yeah, we're going to be a little kind. We're going to be a little discounted. He also addressed concerns of Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley, because Grassley has co-sponsored a bill yesterday that would bring the power of the tariff back to Congress. And now keep in mind the president is using emergency powers here because there are those who believe, and I talked about this on the fourth hour yesterday, comments from Senator Rand Paul, for instance. There are those, the power of the tariff rests with Congress, not the president. And so this is what Senator Grassley is trying to do. And the vice president said, now you're talking about Chuck Grassley. I understand he's worried about farmers. But here's my message to Chuck Grassley. Do our farmers benefit when you have foreign competitors who send a lot of their farm products to the United States, but refuse to let our great farmers send beef and send other exports to those countries? That's a whole problem here that we're trying to fix, he said. And that unfairness is why the president did these reciprocal tariffs, he said. And really, fairness is the name of the game. Chuck Grassley's a good guy. I know he's worried about our farmers, but the way to fight for American farmers is to tell foreign countries you can't stop what American farmers produce from coming in. You've got to open up your markets the same way we've been open for business for decades. Again, how do you argue with that? I find it, very difficult to argue with that. So the Hill's got a story. You can count on the legacy media to all of the hand wringing and the gut wrenching that's going on, and they know exactly who to go to, reacting to, for instance, Senator Lisa Murkowski. She said, one of the things that I'm hearing from folks back home is they're certainly afraid about what it's going to mean for price increases, very afraid about that. And there are people that are afraid. Who are those who are making us afraid? I think there are those who want you to be afraid. I believe this for a long time. Because when you get afraid and you get all emotional and you get your guts all wrenched up, you don't think as clearly as you otherwise would. When you're able to take a step back, draw a breath, relax, and look with, fresh eyes at the problem. There are a lot of people in the country who'd rather wring your guts all into a knot and get you all riled up, and there's a lot of that going on right now, I think. Also, there's another big story this morning, but not a lot of details, because the president was at the question of how long Elon Musk is going to stay in his position. The media is just obsessed about this. How long is Elon Musk going to be there? Again, he's a temporary government employee, which means 130 days at a crack. In a year, I think in the span of a year, he can work 130 days. And so is Elon Musk going to stay? What's going on? And the president is saying, no, Elon Musk is going to stay on his team for as long as possible, he said yesterday. And then he added that Doge had found something horrible. His word, horrible, but no details. What they found, we don't know. And I would have liked to be able to tell you a little bit more, but that's all the president said. And he spoke very well of Elon Musk. So he said Elon is fantastic. He's a patriot. He said Musk can stay at the White House as long as he'd like. And then he personally wants Musk to stay as long as possible. Trump said, I like smart people, and he's a smart person. I also like him personally, the president said. See, that has become very clear. And there are those who are really trying to create a rift between Musk and Trump. And I just don't, when you like somebody, others are saying, trying to put noise in your ear. Oh, this person, big, and you just go, right? I mean, you got a personal relationship with somebody else is telling you, oh, and you're like, that's not my experience. Sorry. So the president saying we're in no rush in regard to Elon Musk, but there will be a point in which Elon's going to have to leave. And the reason he says that is because Elon's got companies to run. He's got a company to run or a number of companies to run, the president said. But he said, would he appoint Elon Musk to a different post in order to keep him around? And the president said, I would. I think Elon's great. So what Doge uncovered, the president saying yesterday, they uncovered something horrible, but as of yet, we don't know what that is. Newsmax has got a story. Senate Republicans have taken a step forward on the president's tax cut agenda yesterday. Senate voted 52-48 to move forward with their framework then to address the president's proposals for tax cuts, border enforcement, and increased military spending. And again, you need lawmakers in both chambers to approve the same budget resolution to unlock that tool then that would allow Republicans to circumvent Senate Democrats. And it may take several months, but they're taking steps forward with that this morning. Also, the president has fired. This is a piece from, where's this one from? Straight Arrow News. The president, according to reports, fired 6 National Security Council officials following a meeting with Laura Loomer. She's a conservative activist. She identified individuals she considered disloyal. And this is creating all kinds of, you got people in Washington who are chafing like crazy over this, which I just love. Honestly, the more you get people inside of Washington who are chafing, I mean, I just grab the popcorn, man, and it's showtime. So the Straight Arrow News says media outlets on the left are framing the president's consultation with Laura Loomer as a dangerous influence, emphasizing her far-right conspiracy theorist label and all of this. Media outlets, this is Straight Arrow News, and they try to cut a little bit. They try to cut right down the center. They try to. They say media outlets on the right portray Loomer as providing valuable receipts to the White House, characterizing the dismissed staffers as disloyal neocons. I'm not saying that. I don't even know who they are. I don't even know who they are. I will just tell you, I don't get all worked up. I don't get all shook up. I can. But generally speaking, a lot of this, it's, again, considering what happened in the stock market, what's going on in the economy and all of this and concerns, a lot of this stuff just doesn't seem to be all that important. So the director of NSA and Cyber Command, as well as a deputy, were among those fired in this. He was fired yesterday. Now the NSA, the country's, cyber espionage, electronic eavesdropping. That's the NSA responsible for that. And he was let go. Also, the NSA civilian deputy was also let go yesterday. And not a lot of details as to why this is all part of the, I think, reportedly fired, but it doesn't say why. They were shown the door. The reason behind the shakeup is unknown, U.S. officials say. So no reason given, but that is a big story this morning. Also, the president has weighed in on proxy voting for new parents in the House of Representatives. Remember, we talked about it earlier this week. Republican Representative Anna Paulina Luna had introduced a bill that would allow new parents to vote by proxy for 12 weeks, and the president saying he supports the idea for new mothers. But he said the decision rests with House Speaker Mike Johnson. There may be some conversations taking place there. I expect we may know more on Monday. Also, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg back in the news. He was grilling the Trump administration lawyers over whether they defied a court order blocking deportations. As you know, the administration has been using the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. And so now the judge grilling the administration over this, pretty sketchy, the words that Judge Boasberg used. Also, there are some clips. You got to thank townhall.com for this. 1996, Representative Chuck Schumer explaining the number one reason illegals come into the United States. is so that they can defraud programs like Social Security, and he wanted to stop it in 1996. And so this clip now is getting out, and Elon Musk responds to it and says, "This is pure gold," which it is. It's just, I was watching it this morning. Oh, I'm going to have to play that for you this morning. And let's leave it there. That's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks so much for starting your day with us. I really appreciate having you along. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Currently, cloudy skies, 36. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Weeknights 5 to 8. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, the Give You More Tire and Automotive Store.
When your home has a plumbing or air conditioning emergency, call the Hander Plumbing and HVAC 24 hours, 7 day a week experienced service team. Clogged drains, leaky faucets.
Yeah, that footage of
unit cleaned and ready for
Chuck Schumer from 1996. Go to townhall.com. They've got it. I will share it coming up a little later this morning. It's just crazy. And there's footage of others too. Bernie Sanders, Nancy Pelosi, speaking in absolute opposition to what they're saying now. It's just really shows how Democrats have just gone off the rails, man. It's crazy.
Colonoscopy at 45 and follow up every 10 years or as recommended by your doctor. Find a location or schedule now at avera.org/colon.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill?
Okay.
When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast.
Feeling like Friday to you? Because, man, it feels like Friday to me.
Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers. I didn't know.
Usually it starts feeling like Friday on Wednesday.
Who I was with before. Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions, and this ad stands include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
A few scattered showers in our forecast moving in from the west today. Temperature near 50 this afternoon.
Excuse me.
Southeast wind at 5 to 15. Scattered showers coming to an end tonight, low at 25. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a brisk northwest wind at 15 to 25. High 47. Back to the mid-50s on Sunday. From the Storm Center, I'm Kevin Land.
And in Sioux Falls at 629. Cloudy skies at 36 currently at Kello. Fox News Radio coming up fast. The Dow took a pretty big dive yesterday. And that's of concern to a lot of us. So Fox News will have the latest on that as markets get underway again here today. Then we'll check in with Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. The verdict is in the trial of Lana Carroll, and Joe will have those details. Also, Governor Roden's Project Prison Reset Task Force hearing from the public for the first time. Governor's office also working to build better relationship with South Dakota's Native American community. So Joe will have details on those stories for you coming up in moments. Then I'll run down all of the news stories that are trending this morning. It's quite a variety coming up in Belf's News Gallery. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Stock futures are down after the biggest losses in nearly 5 years.
The president says the stock market reacting negatively to his reciprocal tariffs on nearly every U.S. trading partner was to be expected.
It's going to be a booming country, a very booming country. It's going to be amazing, actually.
Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, the president says global manufacturers are pledging trillions of dollars in U.S. investments.
Fox's Jared Halpern, at least 7 deaths are reported in storms in the South and Midwest.
Another day of dangerous and potentially life-threatening weather for folks that live across the central U.S., the Mid-South, Ohio, Mississippi, and Tennessee River valleys, with strong to severe storms containing large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes, while catastrophic flooding is also a concern over the same areas.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. America's listening to Fox News.
Hello, News Time, 6:31.
Whoops.
News Center. The verdict is in for the trial of Lana Carroll, the former state employee accused of stealing $1.8 million from South Dakota's Department of Social Services, has been found guilty. The jury deliberated for just over an hour. Carroll faces up to 50 years in prison. She now awaits sentencing. Governor Rodin's Project Prison Reset Task Force is hearing from the public for the first time. The group held a public forum at the South Dakota Military Heritage Alliance in Sioux Falls yesterday. Members learned that nearly $51 million has already been spent on land preparation and design of the prison at the previous location in rural Lincoln County. Over the next 3 weeks, Project Prison Reset will seek ideas from South Dakotans on other potential locations for a new men's penitentiary. The governor's office is working to build better relationships with South Dakota's Native American community. During a recent local service club meeting in Mitchell, Lieutenant Governor Tony Venhuizen says progress is being made.
We've had some great interactions with the tribe since Governor Rodin took office. They have been excited to meet with him. I know now that the legislative session is over, there'll be more of those meetings coming.
Tribal relations during Governor Kristi Noem's administration became strained over the years, but now appears to be moving in a different direction under Governor Rodin. And after 5 years of no increases, tuition at state universities across South Dakota is going up. The Board of Regents announced a 2.9% tuition increase yesterday. Regents Executive Director Nathan Lucas says it's a delicate balance between affordability and maintaining quality programs for students.
Certainly recognizing that our students are price sensitive and wanting to maintain all of the good work that we've gained over the last 5 years. But at the end, we also need to make sure that we're able to provide the types of services and support that all of our students expect on our campuses so they keep showing up.
The tuition hike will take effect this summer term into next spring. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Weather brought to you by Infinity Sedation Dentistry, Sioux Falls. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Scattered showers in our forecast today. High temperature near 50 with a southeast wind at 5 to 15. Those scattered pockets of showers coming to an end tonight, low at 25. Tomorrow, mostly sunny conditions with a high in the upper 40s, northwest wind 15 to 25. Highs on Sunday in the mid-50s. From the Storm Center at Kibbeland TV, I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
The Sioux Empire's most talked about talk shows are right here. Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9, and Kello.com.
Regardless of who buys TikTok, there's still Chinese and other spies working tirelessly all around us, many in our homes, and nobody cares about all the data that they collect. I'm Kim Commando for Oracle. Cut your current cloud bill in half. Move up to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. See if your company qualifies at oracle.com/Kim. The best spies operate out in the open, in plain sight. No one notices them. Tens of millions of internet-connected cameras used by traffic control and government surveillance, but made in China, let the Chinese government conduct espionage and disrupt U.S. infrastructure at any time. Your DJI drone collects detailed maps, photography, and critical information every time you fly it. Your Roomba vacuum, an American company, but using parts from China, adds intricate and fine detail to the floor plans of your home every time it cleans. TikTok may get new ownership, but the spies among us will stay. Stay tech ahead with my free newsletter. Sign up right now at getkim.com. There's a growing expense eating into your company's profits. It's your cloud computing bill. You may have gotten a deal to start, but now the spend is sky high and increasing every year. What if you could cut your cloud bill in half and improve performance at the same time? Well, if you act by May 31st, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure can help you do just that. OCI is the next generation cloud designed for every workload, where you can run any application, including any AI projects, faster and more securely for less. In fact, Oracle has a special promotion where you can cut your cloud bill in half when you switch to OCI. The savings are real. On average, OCI costs 50% less for computing, 70% less for storage, and 80% less for networking. Join today's innovative AI tech companies who upgraded to OCI and saved. Offer only for new U.S. customers with a minimum financial commitment. See if you qualify for half off at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare. With an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews, customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
It's tax season. By now, we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed. Save up to 40% in your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. That's LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for
Morning,
pneumococcal
Steve.
pneumonia.
Always
Gen
good to
X,
see you.
This is our shot. Visit
Appreciate your
vaccinated.com
comments.
to schedule a vaccine today.
Bollesburg.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. You look at all this footage of the Democrats, and they're saying what Republicans are saying right now. And now, of course, they're how horrible all of this is. These people are. What happened? I mean, seriously, what happened to them? Not guided by principle.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry.
All right.
Options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-334-2266. That's 800-334-2266. 800-334-2266. Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like fences. A house with a big yard and a white picket fence was always the dream. But then you saw the price to install a fence and you're wondering if the color is driving the price up. Nobody ever dreams of a beige or a gray picket fence, right? So maybe those fences are cheaper. But no, they're not. Then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds and make all your dreams of a fence come true. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
More happens in South Dakota every day than we can fit on one radio station, even Kello. That's why there's Kello.com and Kello on your phone with a free Kello AM app.
With local stories, podcasts, and other exclusive content.
Get more of South Dakota.
Twenty minutes before 7, cloudy skies, 36. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Well, this is interesting. You might enjoy this if you like pancake breakfasts and you love to support veterans. I think you'll appreciate the Pancake Feed fundraiser going on this Sunday from 8 until 1 at the Crooks Community Center. You'll be able to enjoy pancake breakfast with biscuits, gravy, while supporting their local Veterans Park. So all of the proceeds from this fundraiser will go toward building, maintaining, improving their park, honoring veterans. So that'll be coming up this Sunday, 8 until 1 at the Crooks Community Center.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belk's News Gallery.
I don't think it's any big surprise that what happened on the Dow yesterday is the top trending story this morning. You had U.S. markets plummeting after the president announced his new tariffs earlier this week. So Wall Street saw significant sell-offs. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plunged by 3.98% at market close. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ Composite saw losses of 4.84%, 5.97%, respectively. So a lot of sell-offs, significant sell-offs, including tech companies like NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, other major corporations. Dollar Tree, Nike, Target also suffered yesterday. So a lot of attention on this. It's the big story this morning. So stocks plummeting yesterday. Also, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, yesterday criticizing the tariffs announced by the president. Also called on French companies operating in the United States to suspend all their investment projects until this is clarified, is the way he said. He said future investments announced in recent weeks must be suspended for a while until the situation with the United States is clarified, he said. And he said, what would be the message if major European players invest billions of euros in the U.S. economy just at the moment when we are being hit, he said. So he's calling for a freeze on all investment in the United States. He had a pretty strong response from China. Yesterday, their Ministry of Commerce urged the U.S. to immediately cancel their unilateral tariff measures, vowed to take resolute countermeasures to safeguard their own rights and interests. And they said the U.S. has drawn the so-called reciprocal tariffs based on subjective and unilateral assessments, and on it goes. That this is a typical unilateral bullying practice that Trump is engaged in here. They should talk China, accusing Trump of being the bully. Also, there is some good news. I mean, you had egg prices are falling this morning, dropped by 9% over the past week. This is according to U.S. Department of Agriculture. So egg prices dropping by 9%, falling to $3 a dozen. So the price of eggs fell by more than 50% from the 10-year high that we saw in February. As a result of that, also, you've got Ford Motor Company saying that they're going to offer employee pricing to all U.S. shoppers. This is a handshake deal with every American. So you will have access to Ford's employee pricing through June 2nd. And it means then that you will pay the same amount as Ford's workers, which is below the dealer invoice price, according to Ford. And they said, we have the retail inventory to do this and a lot of choice for customers that need a vehicle, they said. So during this period, you'll be able to save on 2024 and 2025 hybrid, plug-in hybrid, diesel, and gas-powered Ford and Lincoln vehicles. That deal excludes this year's Expedition and Navigator SUVs, the Raptors, and Super Duty trucks. And Ford is saying, we've got the retail inventory to do this and a lot of choice for customers that need a vehicle. So Ford offering employee pricing to everyone. While we're talking about automobiles, Stellantis, who is a multinational auto manufacturer, told their employees yesterday that they would temporarily pause production at assembly plants in Canada and Mexico. And they said, so they're holding off and saying they're assessing the effects of the tariffs on their operations. They said, we've also decided to take some immediate actions, including temporarily pausing production at some of our Canadian and Mexican assembly plants. Those actions will impact some employees at several of our U.S. powertrain and stamping facilities that support those operations. And they said those, we're not taking these actions lightly, but they're necessary given what's going on in the market. So Stellantis stopping production at assembly plants in Canada and Mexico, and again saying that some U.S. plants may be affected by that as a result. So again, what it does is it shows the motivation for these companies, what? To come to the United States, right? To come to the United States and build their products in the United States rather than in Canada and Mexico. And also, the president has reportedly fired as many as 6 National Security Council staffers. And this was reported yesterday by the New York Times, as well as other outlets. And this apparently followed a meeting that the president had with Laura Loomer. And the names of the staffers who were fired have not been made public, so we can't tell you who they were. So Loomer confirmed on social media that she met with the president. She said on an X, it was an honor to meet with President Trump and present him with my research findings. I will continue working hard to support his agenda. I will continue reiterating the importance of and the necessity of strong vetting for the sake of protecting the President of the United States and our national security. I'll be interested to get more details on that story. Like many, I find it heartbreaking to see what's happened to this Texas family, this 17-year-old who was knifed to death, and they were on the Will Cain show on Fox, and Megan Metcalf and her son Hunter talking about 17-year-old Austin Metcalf who was killed. And it's just really kind of devastating, honestly. They're choking back tears and trying to talk. Megan Metcalf was weeping, and she said, my son is gone. I don't really have the words. He's just going to be so missed by mostly our family, but this whole community has really wrapped their arms around us. If I could say anything to the nation, I would say to make sure that you just hug your babies tight, because you don't know when is the last time you'll have a chance to do it. And then also Austin's twin brother, Hunter, remembering him as just a great person, he said overall, was always there to check on me and keep me straight so I wouldn't get into trouble. And talking about what happened and how his brother got stabbed. And that's got to be the heartbreaking story of the week. At least I have found it to be so. Also, the Los Angeles Dodgers improving to 8-0 after Shohei Ohtani's walk-off home run against the Braves. So it's another comeback win for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And again, thanks to Shohei Ohtani. Now, you might find this story very interesting about artificial sweeteners. There's a new study published in the Nature Metabolism Journal this week. And I don't think this is anything shocking, because it's revealing things that I've known for a long time. And have had doctors telling me for a number of years and about these artificial sweeteners like those in diet soda. Now you're finding not only these artificial sweeteners might actually be making you hungrier. So if you are consuming, let's, for the sake of argument, just talk about sodas. Okay. You're consuming artificial sweeteners in your soda, and you're thinking it's going to make you thinner, and then you wind up actually being hungrier and craving more. That's exactly what happens. And now there is research out there showing it. Sucralose would be one of them. They say sucralose can affect key mechanisms that helps you regulate your appetite. And if you take a fair amount of artificial sweeteners, it's going to influence your ability then to regulate your appetite. You wind up being hungrier when what you're trying to do is actually become slimmer. That's why you make the choice then to, consume these artificial sweeteners. That's, you just go round and round. Also, a Bitcoin investor bought a SpaceX flight for himself and 3 polar explorers, blasted off Monday night. This is the first rocket ride to carry people over the North and South Poles. So this is a Chinese-born entrepreneur aboard a SpaceX Falcon rocket. So the first leg of their flight from Florida to the South Pole took about half an hour. And this is, again, humans haven't done this before, flown over the poles. And which is why it's making news, because this is a path never flown before in the 64 years of spaceflight. Other stories trending this morning. If you're a fan of Bruce Springsteen, he'll be releasing a project called Tracks 2, The Lost Albums. This was released yesterday. And he announced it on social media Wednesday. So there was not a lot of information provided beyond that, but the first volume of tracks was a 4 CD, 66 song collection of unreleased material from over his career. It was issued in 1998. So if you're a Bruce Springsteen fan, you're probably already aware of this, but that story is trending this morning. Tracks 2, the Lost Albums, being released this week by Bruce Springsteen. Also, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, after the federal judge, he was in the news earlier this week because a federal judge dismissed corruption charges against him. I don't think you're going to find it as a great surprise that he announced yesterday he will not be running as a Democrat in a bid for re-election. He said he's still a Democrat, but plans to campaign as an independent with a new party that emphasizes public safety, according to the Wall Street Journal. So it means that Adams will not be running in the Democratic Party's primary election in June. There are a lot of people who are running. Instead, he'll be running independently in the November general election. So he announced this in a video on X yesterday morning. He said, I'm not a quitter. I'm a New Yorker. And that is why today, although I am still a Democrat, I am announcing that I will forego the Democratic primary for mayor and appeal directly to all New Yorkers as an independent candidate in the general election. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Bill's News Gallery. Thanks so much for starting your day with this. Really nice to have you along. 6:57. Cloudy skies, 36 this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show, brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Well, thanks so much for starting your day here. I really appreciate it. Please come back at 9:30 for the 4th hour. I'll see you then. Thanks, Bill.